It's Wednesday, the 22nd of July. Good day and welcome to the BizNews Edge. I'm Alec Hogg. Well, today's headline conversation takes us thousands of kilometers from South Africa to a narrow 33-kilometer wide stretch of water between Iran and Oman. Because what's happening on the Strait of Hormuz is now landing directly on South African petrol pumps and on the desks of policymakers in Pretoria. I'll be sharing insights from Iranian-born and raised economist, academic, and entrepreneur, Dr. Iraj Abedian, on why this standoff matters so much, what it means to South Africa's BRICS entanglement with Iran, and where it leaves companies like MTN, who've got real money on the line. Remember, Dr. Abedian will be delivering a keynote a keynote presentation at the BizNews conference from the 11th to the 14th of August. Come and join us. There's still a few tickets left. And you can check those tickets out by going to the biznews.com website. All the details there with the image at the top of the page. But first, let's catch up on the stories that matter to you most today. A nasty inflation surprise from Stats SA, a boardroom battle for control at Africa's biggest pension fund. Yep, the PRC back in the news. And sad news about a giant of South African political writing, R.W. Johnson, who has passed on. And close off on the corporate side with some transformational fintech news out of Pepkor. Let's get into it, starting with the number that hits every household in our country, and it's not pretty reading for the Reserve Bank, which is going into its Monetary Policy Committee meeting today and will tell us about interest rates tomorrow. Stats SA's June print has headline inflation jumping from 4.5% to 5%. That's the fastest pace in 2 years. But the real story isn't the headline figure for June. It's what's driving it. Your petrol tank. Fuel prices are up a massive 34% year on year. Diesel, though, up 51%, petrol 32%. Hey, who wants to be driving a diesel car nowadays? Well, that's the Strait of Hormuz story, landing up directly in your wallet and mine. And we'll unpack every reason why in that discussion in a little while with Dr. Abedian. There is a silver lining, though, on the inflation figures today. Food inflation keeps falling. Staples like rice and maize meal are actually going down and are cheaper now than they were a year ago. Traders, however, have locked in a quarter-point rate hike, 0.25%, from the Reserve Bank tomorrow, following the one that they gave us 2 months ago. So brace for pricier fuel, pricier debt, all in the same week. Next to the boardroom battle at Africa's biggest money manager, Bloomberg was told by Deputy Finance Minister David Masondo, Dr. David Masondo, that is, that he'll fight to keep his job as chairman of the Public Investment Corporation, despite Finance Minister Enoch Godongwana, his boss, having called a shareholder meeting for next Monday to potentially remove him. It follows Masondo's suspension of the PIC chief executive, Dr. Patrick Dlamini, over a whistleblower report saying that Dlamini didn't have the authority, get this, to commission an investigation into a dodgy deal involving PIC staff and Lanseria Airport. That's a saga that's already cost 6 board resignations in a single week. It's worth remembering the Imparty Commission that looked into the PIC warned years ago that having an automatic chairman being the deputy minister exposes the 3.5 trillion rand fund to exactly the kind of political interference that we're seeing right now. And some sad news to share. R.W. Johnson, or Bill to those who knew him, passed away yesterday. This was confirmed to us by his wife, Professor Irina Filatova. Bill was one of the sharpest, most stubborn voices in South African political writing, an Oxford Fellow for 26 years who came home in 1995. He lost a leg in 2009. That never slowed him down. He delivered a keynote at BNC 7 in Hermanus just over a year ago. And that had our tribe on the edge of their seats. Who would have thought that two of the stars of that conference, Neil de Beer and Bill Johnson, would both not be with us after such little time? Bill and I didn't always agree. We fell out badly over a column recently, but a full boardroom talk tribute is now up on biznews.com, which shows you that he never left our affections. Rest well, Bill Johnson. The country will miss you. And the big corporate news of the morning, Pepkor has just announced a genuinely transformational deal. It's up on Sens. It's combining Pepkor's Flash subsidiary with fintech player Shop to Shop to build a merchant and payments platform that'll process over 200 billion rand a year in the informal economy. Spaza shops, townships, traders, all going digital. Pepkor is paying 1.5 billion rand in cash, plus it's folding in Flash, its company, which is valued at 10.5 billion rand. And putting the two companies together, it will have a controlling 57% stake in the combined business, which is valued now at over 21 billion rand. There's a stock market listing flagged for the future, something that we'll be very interested in analyzing. It's a smart bet on the township economy and a signal that Pepkor wants to be seen as a fintech story, not just a discount retailer. And the founder of Pepkor, the man himself, Christo Wiese, will also be at BNC 9. Man, you can't afford to miss it. Go on to BizNews now. Go and click on that image at the top. Get all the details and join us in the Drakensberg. We'd love to have you there. And now for today's main event. Yesterday, I sat down with economist Dr. Iraj Abedian to make sense of what's going on in the Middle East, that Strait of Hormuz standoff, which it's turned into, why it matters, what it means for the Gulf, what it means for us right here in South Africa. There seems to be a standoff now on the Straits of Hormuz. Tell us what the Straits of Hormuz are, please, and then why they're so important and why it should be affecting the oil price and indeed Donald Trump's state of mind.
Yeah, Alec, thank you very much for the opportunity. Good to see you again. And at the moment, the status is that of literally a tug of war over nothing else, not what the war started for, but for the Strait of Hormuz. And the Strait of Hormuz is significant for a number of reasons. One is it is a very narrow strait between the country of Iran and Oman. That is a passage of about 33 kilometers wide, of which about less than half is fit for ocean liners, for big tankers. So it is really a narrow, very significant strait or point through which, or waterway, where about 30 to 35% of the daily supply of global oil goes through it. Of course, sometimes it's less, sometimes more, but that is literally the lifeblood of countries like United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Bahrain, and Iraq, most significantly Iran, because over 95% of Iran's exports, and anything between 95 to 98% of imports comes through Strait of Hormuz. Of course, Iran has been trying to diversify to another port, but as we speak, that is a critical choke point for that entire region. Now, the significance of it from a historic point of view is that Kuwait, UAE, Bahrain, Oman, Qatar, these were all once upon a time part and parcel of the Iranian piece of land, Iranian empire, if you like, or or the country. So there is a lot of political, cultural, religious, and historic points of reference amongst these nations whose life has always been intertwined. Their families, even sometimes going back, not unlike South Africa and Zimbabwe, South Africa and Lesotho, maybe colonial powers, much like Middle East, Persian Gulf. UK was the colonial power that drew up these lines. Um, you would you would have read the history, and I'm sure you're familiar with it, that these nations were tribes led by different tribal authorities or kingdom or emirs, depending what preferences they had culturally. But they've never been independent. Their independence dates back, the latest one being Bahrain, that's got less than 60 years, and so on and so forth. So the significance of it is for trade. Of course, we talk about 30 to 35% of global oil, but it's not just fuel. It's petrochemicals, it's fertilizers, it's aviation fuel, and so on and so forth. It has been since 1980s when the Iraqi war, when Iraq invaded Iran, uh, once the Strait of Hormuz was blocked at that time. But of course, at that time, the West was on the side of Iran, Israel included, and they helped a kind of blockade of the Strait of Hormuz in favor of Iran and the rest of the region, so that to create a choke point against Saddam Hussein, the dictator of Iraq. Of course, the history has turned the other way around now. Now Iran is at the point of claiming its historic ownership, if you like, or control of this significant choke point of the global trade.
Talk us through that. You're talking, many South Africans have emigrated to Dubai. The UAE has been almost like a magnet. Many South African businesses are in Dubai. Then we have Qatar, where Sasol has got a big investment in the gas fields. And Kuwait, many Kuwaitan are even, there's a lot of relationship between the two countries. And of course, a little bit further away is Israel. So what does all of this mean for those countries and the region as a whole?
It is what it means that they have to abandon sole reliance on the American superpower protection. The stature of America is all but shattered. And this is the beginning, in my view, of the fall of the empire in a literal way. And for the Arabs and for the regions and countries like Egypt, Saudi Arabia, and so on, they need to think of the end of relying on others to protect them. They need to have their own regional, integrated, collaborative security pact of one type or another. For example, as we speak over the past 3-4 weeks, Pakistan, Egypt, Turkey, Saudi Arabia are intensely engaged in a new dispensation, a new security pact, if you like, a Middle Eastern NATO, not NATO, but NATO of some type. And there is these things take a lot of detailed financial, military, and other arrangements. But that's the acknowledgement that America can no longer be trusted, nor is able to. The reality of the power structure globally is that we are in a different dispensation. First of all, war is no longer what it used to be. Military domination by any folks, be it America, be it China, be it Russia, is not a sustainable means of domination. But it sounds idealistic, but it's a reality of the evolution of humankind, that we are in a different age. We are in a different technological space. The economy, the interdependence of nations is inevitable and undeniable, and you cannot break it again. Now, if that is the case, war and destruction cannot be any longer productive means of creating a stability. So stability has to be based on a whole lot of new platform, which is more collaborative and more cognizant of the inseparable interest of nations, whether they are white or black, west or east, that is irrelevant. Now, in that context, Middle East now has to carve out a new security pact amongst the local players, neither China nor Russia or US or UK. They may pretend that they can do. For example, the United States has got 8 military bases in all of these countries that we mentioned, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, etc., etc. With what good? Nothing. Dubai has made its brand, as you mentioned, become a global hub of logistic investment, etc., etc. But people are now rethinking. Dubai is the most vulnerable of all these nations, or UAE more broadly. Alec, you may have seen the statistics that Dubai and UAE broadly got more missiles from Iran, received more missiles and drones than Israel, the arch enemy. And that articulates what the issue is. The issue was once upon a time, and still is, the existential threat that Israel feels from the Iranian regime, and Iranian regime feels, for very good reasons, by the Israeli regime. So they too have existential coexistence problem. But the rest of the region have received more damage, more missiles, and Dubai has now got to rethink, and UAE has to reimagine what it could do in this situation, and so should Qatar and all of it. A very important part is this, Alec, that over the past 30 years, these neighboring countries, UAE, etc., they have embarked on the back of their wealth that they got from oil primarily and petrochemicals, embarked on unbelievable economic development strategies. So much so that Dubai, I know Dubai as a desert sun, like a town in the Karoo. That's how I traveled to South Africa, through a town like that. And today you go to Dubai, you think you're actually dreaming something. Now, a lot of people who have invested in Dubai, including the government itself, have to now go into a different mindset of to coexist with the neighbors, most importantly Iran in the short term, and reimagine and re-engineer their security and their economic developments. For the moment, they are losing hand and fist expertise, capital, companies are moving, etc., which is very, very unfortunate.
So where does that leave South Africa? We have a exposure to Iran because our government has invited them into BRICS. We have an exposure through one of our biggest companies, MTN, that has a big chunk of the, or 49% of the major network, cell phone network in that country. Where does it leave this country and its exposure?
I think it's unfortunate. I've said this before, that South Africa at the wrong time and unnecessarily bet on a partnership that was bound to end up here. Where it lands us is that we've now gone into a camp, whereas we're supposed to be and should have been, for national interest, an independent, impartial nation, neither west or east. But look at our developmental needs. It puts us on in the bad books of America, for sure, for bad or good reason. At the same time, Iran is not, for the next 30 years, going to be in a position to take care of its own needs, never mind being a good partner for anybody else. Because the level of destruction, Alec, I said America has lost this war, but it doesn't mean from a military point of view they have not been successful. They have damaged that nation, destroyed whatever they could destroy. And therefore, the reconstruction of Iran is going to be not a short project. It's going to be at least 20 to 30 years reconstruction program. And South Africa happens to be not on the side of the people, because this regime is, whether America wins or loses, The fact is that the generality of the population of Iran are suffered under this regime. They are suffering as we speak, with tens of thousands of political prisoners and daily executions on top of shortage of food, everything else. How do they see the alliance and those who supported this regime? Is quite obvious. It's not good. It's not ethical. It is not something that is compatible with the values of South Africa and the economic interests of South Africa in the medium term.
That was Dr. Iraj Abedian, and it's hard to argue with his read. A fractured Strait of Hormuz means a fundamentally reshaped Middle East and South Africa. Thanks to our BRICS entanglement with Iran, we in fact invited them into that little club, is more exposed than most emerging markets, whether it's through fuel prices or through MTN's stake in its Iranian cellular network. Well, that's the BizNews Edge for today. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And thank you for being a loyal member of our BizNews tribe. Because if you're catching this every day, well, you are a loyal member, and that's what keeps us going. For more on all of these stories, head to biznews.com. You'll also find the Boardroom Talk tribute to R.W. Johnson there. I'm Alec Hogg. Until tomorrow, cheerio. In uncertain times, good information is priceless. The BizNews Conference is heading back to the Drakensberg. Join me, Alec Hogg, from the 11th to the 14th of August for BNC 9, Champagne Sports Resort, where it all began, and where our community gathers for honest conversations, smart investing insights, and direct access to some of South Africa's sharpest minds. Come and rub shoulders with the best we've got. 28 keynote speakers, 3 days. Seats are available now. Book your seat by clicking the link in the description. Start your day a step ahead. BizNews Insider. It delivers the business stories that matter every morning straight to your inbox. Sharp, fast, and free. Subscribe now.